If you paid a medical bill in the last 12 months, there's an 80% chance you overpaid. And I'm not talking about $20 or $30. The average American overpays by $2,400 every single year on medical bills they didn't actually owe. That's money coming straight out of your pocket, money you worked for, money you'll never see again. And the worst part? The hospitals and insurance companies are counting on you to make these exact three mistakes. I'm the lazy wealth, and I spent 7 years working inside the medical billing industry. And I have to tell you something that's going to make you angry. The system is designed to confuse you. It's designed to make you pay without questioning. I've seen single mothers pay $8,000 they didn't know, retirees draining their savings for procedures that were supposed to be covered, working families choosing between groceries and medical bills that were completely wrong. And here's the thing, it's not your fault. You were never taught how to read a medical bill. No one showed you what to look for. The insurance companies use language that even doctors don't understand. They're betting you won't notice. They're betting you'll just pay it and move on. But today, that ends. Let me show you how bad this really is. Last year, a study looked at 1,000 random hospital bills. You know what they found? 9 out of 10 had errors. 90% of hospital bills have mistakes that charge you more than you actually owe. And these aren't small typos. These are errors that cost you hundreds or thousands of dollars. Here's a real story. A woman named Jennifer went to the emergency room with chest pain. Turned out to be a panic attack. She was there for 3 hours. 2 weeks later, she got a bill for $18,000. $18,000. She almost paid it. She set up a payment plan that would have taken her 5 years to pay off. But then she did something most people never do. She asked for an itemized bill. You know what she found? They charged her for a cardiac catheterization, a procedure she never had. They charged her for 2 days in the ICU. She was never admitted. They charged her for medications she never received. When she disputed it, her actual bill was $2,100. She almost paid $16,000 she didn't know. And Jennifer's not alone. This happens every single day to people just like you. But here's what makes me so angry about this. The medical billing companies know exactly what they're doing. There are actually billing codes that automatically upcharge certain procedures. They'll bill you for the most expensive version of something, hoping you won't notice. They charge you for supplies that cost them pennies, but bill you for dollars. A single Tylenol tablet can be billed at $15. A box of tissues, $8. Stuff you can buy at the dollar store. And your insurance company, they're not helping you. They negotiate rates with hospitals, but those negotiations don't always save you money. Sometimes they actually make it worse because of how deductibles and co-insurance work. So you're stuck in the middle. The hospital overcharges, the insurance company has complicated rules, and you're the one who pays the price.
Every year, Americans overpay medical bills by more than $68 billion. That's billion with a B. And the fragile middle class, people who work hard, pay their bills, try to do everything right, they're the ones getting hit the hardest because you make too much to qualify for financial assistance, but not enough to just write a check without it hurting. So that money comes out of your emergency fund, out of your kids' college savings, out of your retirement account. And for what? For mistakes, for errors, for charges you never should have paid in the first place. But here's what most people don't know. You have way more power than you think. These hospitals and insurance companies are following a playbook, and once you know that playbook, you can fight back. And I'm not talking about spending hours on the phone or hiring an expensive lawyer. I'm talking about simple steps that take 15 to 20 minutes but can save you thousands of dollars. The same strategies I used when I worked in billing. The same strategies that helped Jennifer turn that $18,000 bill into $2,100. Once I learned these 3 mistakes that everyone makes, I've never overpaid a medical bill again. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what those mistakes are and how to avoid them. Mistake number 1 is paying the first bill they send you. This is the biggest mistake, and almost everyone makes it. You get a bill in the mail, it says you owe $3,500, and most people either pay it right away or set up a payment plan. Do not do this. The first bill is almost always wrong. Here's why. When you go to the hospital, they enter codes into their system. Hundreds of codes. Every procedure, every supply, every medication gets a code. And humans are entering these codes. Tired, overworked humans who are processing dozens of patients per day. They make mistakes all the time. Sometimes they enter the wrong code. Sometimes they enter codes for things that never happened. Sometimes they duplicate charges. And the system isn't isn't set up to catch these errors. Nobody's checking. They just bill you whatever pops out of the computer. So here's what you do instead. When you get that first bill, you call the billing department, you say these exact words: "I'd like to request an itemized bill before I make any payment." That's it. That one sentence. An itemized bill shows you every single charge, not just hospital services, $8,000, but actually Tylenol, 2 tablets, $30, blood test, CBC, $247, bandages, $52. When you see everything listed out, the errors become obvious. And here's a secret. Sometimes when you request an itemized bill, the total magically goes down before they even send it to you. Why? Because they know someone's actually going to look at it now, so they quietly remove the charges they know are wrong. I've seen bills drop by 30 to 40% just from requesting an itemized version. Mistake number 2 is not knowing what your insurance actually covers. Most people have no idea what their insurance is supposed to pay for. You get a bill that says patient responsibility $2,000 and you just assume that's correct. But half the time, it's not. Here's what happens. The hospital bills your insurance processes the claim. Then they send you an EOB, an explanation of benefits. The EOB is not a bill. It's a statement showing what the insurance company paid and what they think you owe. But sometimes the insurance company makes mistakes too. They deny claims they should cover, they apply charges to the wrong deductible, they say something wasn't medically necessary when it absolutely was. And if you don't check, you'll never know. Here's what you need to do. Before you pay any bill, look at your EOB. Compare it line by line with the itemized bill from the hospital. Ask yourself these questions. Does this service match what actually happened? Did my insurance apply it to the right deductible? Is this procedure something my plan covers? If something doesn't look right, call your insurance company. Tell them you want to verify the claim was processed correctly. Sometimes they'll say, "Oh, we denied that by mistake. We'll reprocess it." And boom, your $1,500 bill becomes $150. And here's something else most people don't know. If your insurance denies something, you can appeal. You don't just have to accept it. I'm not talking about a complicated legal process. Most insurance companies have a simple appeal form. You fill it out, your doctor writes a letter saying why the procedure was necessary, you submit it. And you know what? Appeals work about 50% of the time. That's half of all appeals that get approved on the second try. But most people never appeal because they don't know they can. Mistake number 3 is not negotiating. This is the one that surprises people the most. Medical bills are negotiable. I know that sounds crazy. You don't negotiate with the electric company or your mortgage lender. But hospitals? You absolutely can negotiate with hospitals. Here's the truth. Hospitals have different prices for different people. If you have insurance, they charge one price. If you don't have insurance, they charge a different price. If you're on Medicare, it's another price. The number on your bill is not set in stone, and hospitals would rather get some money from you than no money. If you can't pay $5,000, they'll often settle for $2,000 or $3,000. Here's how to do this. First, call the billing department. Ask if they have a financial assistance program or charity care. Most hospitals do, and they don't advertise it. If you make under a certain amount, and it's usually higher than you think, they'll reduce your bill or even write it off completely. Second, if you don't qualify for assistance, tell them you can't afford the full amount. Ask if they'll accept a reduced lump sum payment. Say something like, "I have $2,000 I can pay today if you'll consider this bill settled. Otherwise, I'll need to set up a payment plan or I may not be able to pay at all." You'd be shocked how often they say yes. I've seen people negotiate 40 to 60% off their bills with one phone call. Third, if you do need a payment plan, negotiate that too. Ask for 0 interest. Most hospitals will agree to it. Do not put medical debt on a credit card if you can avoid it. And here's one more thing. If the bill is already in collections, you have even more negotiating power. Collection agencies buy medical debt for pennies on the dollar. They'll often accept 20 to 30% of the original amount just to close the case. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds like a lot of work. I don't have time for all these phone calls. I get it. You're busy, you're working, you've got a family, you've got 100 things on your to-do list. But here's the thing. One 20-minute phone call could save you $2,000. hours. That's $6,000 per hour of your time. You're not going to make $6,000 per hour at your job, but you can make it here. And once you do this 1 or 2 times, it gets easier. You know what to say, you know what to ask for, it becomes routine. So let me give you the exact action plan.
Step 1 is never pay the first bill. When a medical bill arrives, don't pay it. Call and request an itemized bill. Wait for that itemized version before you do anything else. This takes 5 minutes. 1 phone call. That's it. Step 2 is review everything. When you get the itemized bill and the ELB, sit down with both of them. Go line by line. Look for charges that seem weird or expensive. Google the medical codes if you're not sure what they mean. Look for duplicate charges. Look for supplies or medications you don't remember getting. Look for procedures you didn't have. If you find errors, and you probably will, write them down. Step 3 is dispute the errors. Call the billing department back. Tell them specifically which charges you're disputing and why. Be polite but firm. I'm looking at charge code 12345 and I was never given this medication. I need this removed from my bill. They'll usually investigate and call you back. Keep notes of every conversation. Write down who you talked to and when. Step 4 is check your insurance coverage. Call your insurance company. Verify that they processed everything correctly. If something was denied, ask why. Ask if you can appeal. If your doctor says something was medically necessary, get them to write a letter for your appeal. Step 5 is negotiate if you still owe. After all the errors are fixed and insurance has paid what they're supposed to pay, if you still have a balance you can't afford, negotiate. Ask about financial assistance first. If that doesn't work, offer a reduced lump sum. If that doesn't work, negotiate a zero-interest payment plan. Do not just put it on a credit card and hope for the best. Quick win for beginners: if this all feels overwhelming, start here. Just do step 1. Just call and request an itemized bill. Don't worry about the rest yet. Just do that one thing. You'll be amazed at how often the bill goes down just from that single action. I've helped hundreds of people do this. A guy named Marcus had a $12,000 bill from a surgery. He requested the itemized bill, found $4,000 in duplicate charges, negotiated the rest, and ended up paying $4,500 total. He saved $7,500 with 3 phone calls. A woman named Lisa got billed $6,000 for her son's emergency room visit. The insurance denied the claim. She appealed with a letter from the doctor. The appeal was approved. She paid a $100 copay instead of $6,000. These are regular people, not finance experts, not people with fancy degrees, just people who learned the system and used it. And here's what I want you to understand. The hospitals and insurance companies have all the power because they have all the information. They know how this works and you don't. But the second you learn the rules of the game, you level the playing field. You don't have to be an expert. You just have to know these 3 mistakes and how to avoid them. If I can do this, and I've helped my own family save over $15,000 in the last 3 years alone, you can absolutely do this too. Think about where you are right now. Maybe you've been paying medical bills without questioning them. Maybe you've been stressed about medical debt you can't afford. Maybe you've been avoiding doctor visits because you're scared of what it'll cost. That version of you didn't know these 3 mistakes existed, but now you do. Now you know that the first bill is almost always wrong. Now you know that you can dispute errors and negotiate. Now you know that you have rights and options, and that changes everything. Because the next time you get a medical bill, you're not going to panic. You're not going to just pay it and hope you can afford groceries. You're going to request that itemized bill. You're going to review it carefully. You're going to fight for your money. The medical billing system is broken, but you don't have to be a victim of it. Every dollar you save is a dollar that stays in your family. A dollar toward your emergency fund. A dollar toward your kid's future. A dollar toward the life you're working so hard to build. The hospitals and insurance companies are not going to fix this system. They benefit from it staying complicated and confusing. But you can protect yourself, starting right now. Starting with the very next bill that shows up in your mailbox. The sooner you start doing this, the sooner you stop overpaying. And the money you save this year and next year and every year after that, it adds up fast. Make sure you subscribe, because next week I'm breaking down the 5 insurance tricks that cost middle-class families the most money. And one of them is so sneaky, even people who think they have great insurance are getting burned by it. You need to see that video. It could save you even more than what we talked about today. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Because here's the thing, the system counts on you not knowing this stuff. Every video I make gives you one more tool to fight back. You got the power, you've got the knowledge, now go use it. I'll see you in the next one.